Hey folks, John with Complete Technology Solutions, your friend in the computer business. So today, every time we do these things with the 3D printers, and we're talking about like the HDP50 upgrades or any of the like little things you can print out or trinkets or models or whatever, the question always comes up, why am I getting funky little bubbles, splits, or cracks in my model? Let me show you why. Guys, the absolute enemy of 3D printer filament is moisture. Any kind of a moisture will actually mess up your print quite a bit. And just letting your filament sit out after you use it, and here's an example. These are leftover rolls, and as Stumpy can see, there's not much left on either one of these. They're just rolls that you end up sitting to the side you don't ever use, or maybe you'll pull it out and make something small now and then. But at the end of the day, your prints never turn out that good because that filament gets moist. It gets brittle, it doesn't print right, it looks like garbage. So today we're going to take a look at the Eibos Filament Dryer. And I know what you're thinking. Boy, this is dry. Okay, that's terrible. But yes, this is the Eibos Filament Dryer. It is designed specifically to place your filament in to dry it while you're printing. Now guys, normally what I'll do is if I've got leftover rolls like this, I will put them in a Tupperware bin, like a Tupperware bin, and then put some silica gel in there. And that silica gel, with it sealed, will eventually take out some of the moisture, but it takes a very, very, very long time. This should be a whole lot quicker for us. So let's crack this open and take a look at what's in this box. Now, full disclosure, this company, it's one of those I bought off of Amazon. They wanted me to take a look at it and do a review. We're going to do this legit. We're going to do it honest, guys. So what we're going to do is I'm going to crack this open. We're going to look at it. I'm going to put some filament in it, and then I'm going to print some stuff and show you what it looks like. I'm going to be here all day anyway, so we'll see what turns out. Here we go. All right. So let's see what we got in here, guys. I bet you most of the people out there watching have never actually watched a filament dryer video. So I'll do what I can to make this as entertaining as possible. All right. It's well packed, that's for sure. Oh, wow, guys. That's actually very high quality. Oh, this one is powered. Okay, we'll get to that. Hold on a second. Let me get this off my desk here. Hey, you know what, guys, I'm seeing here? I'm seeing a nice foam packed target. Think we'll use that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to use that for sure. All right, guys, so taking a look at the filament dryer here. As you can see, now right now it is at 46% humidity. Now that is not abnormal considering we're just sitting in a regular old room. It's been raining all day out here in Texas, so that kind of gives you an idea what it's like. So you can adjust for what kind of filament you've got in here. Now, 9 times out of 10, you guys are going to be using PLA. But it'll do PLA, TPU, which is actually flexible, almost like a rubber. ABS, which is really, really hard if you're printing parts that need durability, like if you're printing anything for like a tool or a bolt that has to hold weight. PETG, which is almost like PLA, it's just a little bit harder. And a couple other options on here too, guys. But going around to the other side here, looks like you've got where the filament is going to come out. Let's crack the door open here. Oh, it's kind of cool. It's got a little slide door. So you slide that down and open it up. And this is where you insert your filament. Guys, I am really curious to see how well this works because of the way this is shaped. It's almost like a filament in, filament out situation, but I know it isn't. So I tell you what we're going to do, and this, of course, is the plug to plug in the bottom here. Tell you what we're going to do. Let me grab a roll of this filament. You know what? Let's start with this disgusting, although it's really pretty, this pearlescent white. And I'm going to throw it in this box. I'm going to do a couple of different prints, all right? So what I want to do is I want to print using the old black and the old white and mixing the colors together, because if you've got moist filament, the first thing that'll happen when you mix colors is a split between the layers. So let me do that. Let me get a roll of filament in here. We'll be right back with you. All right, guys, so look here. Here's what we've got. So I've got the black filament in here. We're going to start with that. Now, this has actually got two outlets. It's got a top feed and a side feed. Now, I will typically use the side feed, guys, because that's going to sit just like that and feed into my 3D printer. If you've got like a Delta 3D printer or something where you're feeding the filament up through the top, then you'd use the top feed. Feed it up and then it would go through. This hose that you see, this tubing, is actually, you cut this into small segments, and it passes through this little rubber grommet right here, and then that's what your filament goes through. It just keeps it from rubbing on that rubber. So as you can see over here, we've got a little piece of that plastic, and we've got our filament coming through. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I am going to take this, and your little side piece just goes right back on here and locks into place. You know what? I want to know how much noise it makes, so let's test this thing. Hold on a second. I'm going to plug this in just right here so we can see what it sounds like, and if there's any kind of like settings we can do on this thing. I don't see anything that would indicate that you could change it other than the dial on the front. So, all right, so we are plugged in. Make sure we are seated. Ooh, I can hear it. It is actually making some noise. There we go. Yeah, it's like a fan, guys. I can hear the fan. All right, so, and hopefully some people get a chance to see that. There's a little fan there. That's an air inlet. And we'll go ahead and put this onto PLA because that's what we're going to be printing. Now, as you can see, this actually will go down as the moisture is actually wicked out of this. But we're not going to wait for that, guys. I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to leave it sitting for about an hour to let it dry out this filament a little bit. Then I'm going to print a few things, and let's see how they turn out. Be right back. All right, guys, so we're about 7 hours later than we shot that last part there. And I've had this thing on all day long. It's actually kind of quiet. It's got a like little pleasant hum to it. It's like, but it works fantastic. It actually did dry the filament. Now, what I did is I did a couple of tests here, guys. You guys remember these, don't you? These are the speed loaders. And as you can see, I am getting a perfect glossy side on this. Now, I would get a perfect one on this. This was printed off of our filament that's relatively new. Now, these are printed off of our junky filament. Remember that little half roll here? Look at this. And I want to show Stumpy how smooth and silky that print actually looks. It turned out amazing. Then I thought, well, I've got some old junky copper filament. Guys, this stuff is notoriously hard to print without getting little bubbles, and it's real rough on print heads too. But if you take a look at this, look at that. Look at that gloss, man. That turned out wonderful. And then I thought, well, let's mix it up, shall we? So I took some of that old brown, and as you can see, look at that color. There's absolutely no split in that seam at all. Look how that looks, guys. That turned out wonderful. And I gave this guy a little white hat. Isn't that amazing? It turned out great. Now, another thing that when you've got moist filament and you're printing anything that spans two distances like this, if your retraction is not set correctly on the filament, in other words, when it goes from point to point on the high sides, it pulls back the filament a tiny bit and it'll go to the next point so you don't end up with stranding. But if you've got really, really moist filament, you can't stop it. Even if it does pull back, you've got enough left in that print head to cause little bitty strings in there. It's almost like that spider web stuff you buy for Halloween. But clearly, this didn't have that problem. These turned out absolutely amazing. I have no complaints about that whatsoever. Guys, this is badass. Honestly, it beats the hell out of doing Tupperware. The Tupperware thing works, but this is more professional and it works very, very well. At one point in time, I did end up having the filament humidity level go down to 19% on a wet day in a moist room. That's pretty impressive. So I will drop a link for this down in the description, guys. It is great. I didn't have any issues with it at all. It's been running perfectly, and it's going to get used on a daily basis from now on. So who knows? Maybe 6 months from now, we'll do a follow-up on it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's not my normal content for you, but y'all like the HDP50 mods, and you got to see the upgrades I have coming up for it. And the 3D printers are the reason we can pull this off. So this is really, really, really useful to have. Have a great night, guys, and a fantastic week. Bye-bye.